5 things ruining your productivity. Let's get right into this. The first one is multitasking. Now, we might think that we can accomplish more if we do a lot fast, but actually, the way that we get profound results in our life is not by scattering our attention over like 5 things at once, but it's more about being selective with what you give your attention to and being able to sustain that focus or concentration on that particular thing for an extended period of time. This actually will make you more insightful. It'll make you more connected to the thing you're doing. You'll get into a flow state. You'll get into a rhythm and just an overall deeper sense of, well-being and overall harmony with the thing that you're actually doing. So trying to do multiple things at once can actually decrease productivity. When you switch between tasks, it can take time to refocus and get back into the flow of the task at hand. Instead, try focusing on one task at a time to improve productivity. So basically, a massive aspect of productivity is investing your overall life energy and your attention, because where you put your attention, your actual energy will go, your life energy will go. It's about putting your attention into something and just keeping it there. That is completely mandatory for being productive. When you go to the gym, you actually have to give it your attention. When you are trying to create a project, you have to give it your attention. When you want to read a book, you have to give it your attention. You have to not get thrown off by what comes up on the TV or this or that or social media or your phone going off. You have to be able to filter this kind of stuff out, create an environment where this stuff won't really pull at your attention, and be able to just give your attention in a very selective, dedicated, and consistent way to the thing that you actually want to, achieve results in. If you want to build up your muscles at the gym, you have to consistently give it your attention. You can't go to the gym for 5 minutes and then play chess for 5 minutes and then meditate for 5 minutes. You're not going to get muscles that way. You're not going to get good at chess that way, and you're not going to understand meditation that way. You have to carve out long periods of time in your day in order to do those things. So it's like 45 minutes, whatever, exercising a certain amount of time, meditating a certain amount of time, let's say practicing chess. If I want to get good at public speaking and talking into the camera, I can't do this for 5 minutes. I have to be able to do it over and over and over again for long periods of time, because I will actually efficiently build up my skills that way. I have to dedicate myself to it. So you want to actually dedicate yourself to the task at hand without having your attention fly all over the place. Moving on to procrastination. Putting off tasks until the last minute can increase stress and reduce productivity. It's important to break tasks down into smaller, more manageable steps and create a schedule or to-do list to help stay on track. This is fairly simple, but I want to emphasize the importance of, not biting off more than you can chew. When you have, let's say, a mountain to climb, you have to take that first step. Starting slow with the project at hand is how you're going to actually achieve the results. If you are overwhelming yourself, really, and I get into that later on, if you're overwhelming yourself with the amount of work that you think has to get done, this is basically going to cause you to seek distractions from those feelings and from the project. It's going to cause you to just kind of avoid doing it or put it off for a period of time. So, of course, you want to take your project, whatever it is you're trying to work on, and slowly and surely bring it down to, bite-sized pieces. So if you have, let's say, for example, a 1,500-word essay to do. 1,500 words is quite a bit, but, what would you do first? You have to start with, let's say, maybe a title page, or you have to get some research. You start with one thing. Focus on one particular thing that you need to do and just start with that, and then move on to the next, and then move on to the next. So you want to notice that you have the overall goal, and then there's sort of some subcomponents of it. If you want to lose 50 pounds, that can be very overwhelming to a lot of people. You might have to look at diets and different exercise routines and how you're going to rest, things like this. But if you kind of just take it slow, you give yourself enough time to focus on one thing at a time, focusing just on diet for a little bit. And then when you're ready and you feel competent in that area, you move on to something else. If you take it slow like that, you can make these changes in an efficient way. We can't change too much about ourselves too fast, because that's kind of destabilizing, really. It's a very unstable and insecure feeling when our whole sense of self gets kind of thrown out of whack. The next one is distractions. So this one is probably your biggest problem. Are you already looking at another tab on your computer or looking for another YouTube video, scrolling the comments? Like, how distracted are you right now? So social media, email, and other distractions can derail productivity. To combat this, try scheduling specific times to check email and social media and turning off notifications during other times. You also want to download those productivity apps that actually allow you to see how much time you're actually spending on those godforsaken apps. Because these apps are designed to get you addicted. They're designed to prey upon a lot of your, lower instincts. Lower as in, I guess, more primitive instincts, the stuff that you have less, impulse control over. It's designed to prey upon those kinds of things and get you addicted so that someone somewhere can profit off of, I guess, your inability to control yourself. So distractions are important to actually write down in a journal what distracts you and get very clear about what it is that distracts you. Actually notice yourself getting distracted by overeating or social media or by friends or by whatever it is that distracts you, and write it down. Write down what it is that distracts you. Write down how you feel when you're being distracted. I'm going to get into this later, but you want to admit to yourself that you are very easily distracted. Your attention very easily is thrown off the task at hand, and that this is a skill that needs to be developed. You have to develop this concentration and this sort of dedication to your tasks. This is not an easy thing. This is not something anyone is just born with. You have to really develop it. And it has to be very intentional as well. So you want to time how much time you spend on social media, things like this. And you can even block these apps if you spend more than, let's say, 10 minutes a day. You can set a timer so that these apps just kind of block. That'll definitely help you quite a lot. The next one is lack of sleep. So poor sleep quality or not getting enough sleep can lead to fatigue and decreased productivity. Getting enough restful sleep can improve focus and increase productivity. We have that whole hustle mindset, grind set, hustle culture crap. Where wake up at 4 a.m, I only slept for 3 hours, so productive. Actually, you want to prioritize your well-being. I'm going to get into this later on in the video, but prioritizing your well-being gives you something called clarity. And when you are clear, when you value your clarity and your well-being, you can actually put out some of your best work. You can have a deeper focus, a deeper sense of connection to the thing you're doing, deeper insights, deeper awareness, just overall, your whole connection to life and yourself feels healthier and more aligned, feels more authentic as well. So you want to actually prioritize feeling well, just getting enough sleep, getting in some exercise, eating the right foods, things like this, the most basic stuff like this. You definitely want to begin to prioritize a lot of these things, because if you don't have these fundamentals to life down of having a good diet or being able to just exercise 3 times a week, or being able to have a good night's sleep, like, you can't be productive. You're going to just feel lethargic, feel kind of unhealthy. You're going to just naturally feel unmotivated and just depressed, because those emotions are telling you that there is something off about the way that you're living your life. Moving on to a negative mindset. A negative mindset can lead to feelings of overwhelm, doubt, and lack of motivation. It's important to practice positive self-talk and focus on the benefits of completing tasks rather than the challenges. Additionally, taking breaks and engaging in self-care activities can improve mindset and overall productivity. So I'm going to talk about this later on in the video, but one thing I can say is that it's very important to actually establish a daily meditation practice for about 5, maybe 10 minutes, something very small, so that you can actually watch your internal monologue that's constantly talking to itself. You can actually watch that thing, observe it, kind of detach from it, not take it so seriously, and not be so wrapped up in a lot of the overwhelming thoughts and anxieties that you are actually just creating for yourself. This is a very important thing to do that is also to be prioritized. This is the basics of human well-being, that if you want to master productivity, it's actually very counterintuitive and downright genius to actually value your well-being and your rest. Because only when we are in these clear, rested states that are more associated with well-being can we actually put out our best work. Can we have our highest quality emotions? Can we have our deepest insights, our deepest sense of clarity, our deepest sense of connection, our deepest sense of authenticity? So you definitely want to begin to get out of things that make you feel kind of down, like distractions, social media, junk food, not exercising, not meditating, not reading, not journaling. You definitely want to move away from stuff like that and more towards healthy eating, exercise, meditation, journaling, reading, writing. These are just the basics of life. This is the basics of developing a deeper sense of well-being within yourself that are really, this is just absolutely fundamental to living well, to just being well in your life. And this video would not be complete if I did not address the emotional components of all of this stuff. These are some of the largest things that block people from being more productive, and people like being productive. It's these kinds of emotions that are actually pulling your strings almost like you're a puppet, and they're just kind of controlling you. And the solution is not to try and like fight your emotions or tense up and hate certain emotions or avoid them. The actual solution to this problem is to acknowledge them within yourself and slowly begin to uncover why they're there. It's about being honest about what your emotional states are, why they're there, actively feeling them, not running away from emotions, not running into distractions and junk food, and when you feel sad, you just run away from it or whatever. You need to actively investigate these emotions, which I'll be giving you quite a few tips on how to do that. But first, I want to talk about the various emotions that are associated with these 5. So multitasking has a lot to do with frustration, feeling overwhelmed, stress, anxious. These are basically all common in relation to multitasking. It basically has a lot to do with feeling like you have too much on your plate. You have too much stuff to do and you're not able to accomplish everything. And this basically leads to decreased productivity. Moving on, procrastination, stuff like guilt, anxiety, stress, and self-doubt are very common to this. Putting off important tasks will lead to feelings of guilt, and basically you kind of shame yourself for not completing the things that are meaningful to you. You get kind of anxious about it, which can make it even harder to get started. Distractions, this involves frustration, feeling irritated, and overwhelmed. These are all very common to it, so constant interruptions and distractions can lead to frustration and a feeling of being overwhelmed, which can negatively impact our productivity. Moving on to lack of sleep, basically like fatigue, irritability, and a lack of motivation are common emotions related to a lack of sleep. Feeling tired and unmotivated can make it harder to focus and accomplish our most basic tasks. Even something like just doing the laundry. I know when we're tired, we're kind of groggy, we screw up on simple things. We forget to put the milk back in the fridge. So you definitely actually want to prioritize getting at least like 8 hours of sleep per night. Basically, this obviously leads to decreased productivity and just silly, dumb mistakes that could have been avoided. Moving on to negative mindset, this has a lot to do with self-doubt, fear, and just overall negativity. So feeling like you can't accomplish tasks and focusing on the negative aspects can lead to a lack of motivation and decreased productivity. So watch out for multitasking, procrastination, distractions, lack of sleep, and an overall negative mindset. And these are a lot of the emotions that have a lot to do with this stuff, like frustration, irritation, being overwhelmed, feeling unmotivated, stressed, fatigue, anxiety, fear, guilt, self-doubt. These are all the things inside of us that we have to actively investigate. These emotions are actually stored in our body. It's not like they just kind of come randomly, and if I can push them away or move away from these emotions, then they'll go away. Actually, if you look at the state of your body right now, it won't take you very long to find a place that is kind of tensed and your muscles are kind of fighting each other. They're just tensed and rigid and kind of locked. And really, this is all a sign of repressed emotions, underlying emotions. If you look at your gut, your jaw, your forehead, your shoulders. It's raised, it's tense, it's kind of in an artificial position. It's like it's put into an inauthentic position and it's locked there. And it's very hard to get out of that. So I'm going to give you a bunch of very important practices for overcoming this stuff. If you just hold on one second as I erase this. And then I'm going to write down some more practices, and I hope that you actually take them seriously. So what is the point of these practices? The point is for clarity. You definitely want to value clarity. So clarity is something that you have to actually learn to create in your life. No one really ever told you that this is one of the most important things in your life. If you do not have this, you're screwed. Your life is done. If you do not know how to develop genuine and authentic clarity through various practices, like I said, getting some exercise or eating well. This is all very obvious. You know, it sounds almost corny to say like, yeah, exercise and eat well. But the thing is you actually have to do this stuff. Like you have to practice number one, read, buy some books. You actually have to journal. Journal. The next one is meditation. The next one is walks. And I just thought of another one randomly right now. I'm just going to put it right here. Stretch. Okay? That last one I just thought of right now. So these 5 things are something you have to do daily. There's no arguing about this. You have to develop these things daily. You have to read 5 pages, 10 pages of, some kind of book daily. I would highly recommend this book right here. Why not? I'd recommend looking into psychotherapy because that's where you're going to find a lot of this stuff. The Self-Acceptance Project is very good. I would highly recommend starting there. Even a book called Bringing Your Shadow Out of the Dark by Robert Augustus Masters, and another book called No Bad Parts by Richard Schwartz. You would actually be very intelligent to actually buy these books after I talked about them. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. But you have to read daily. You have to read psychotherapy. You have to actually care about this thing right here called Emotional Intelligence. This book is by Daniel Goleman. Buy this book and actually read it if you're smart. You actually have to begin to care about this stuff. Study it. Notice the blocks to this kind of stuff within yourself and actively go about changing it and uncovering all this stuff within yourself. You have to read the books, man. There's just no other way. Buy them and actually freaking read them. Journaling is very important too. When you read a book, write down a lot of the best insights that you get from the book. If you have insights of your own, write those down. If you are distracted during the day, write down the things that distract you. Write down how you feel. Just forms of self-awareness, self-reflection, clarity. These things all give you clarity and things that boost your well-being. This all boosts clarity. This is the stuff that you have to actually begin to value in your life or else you're not going to have clarity. Right now, if you're not doing a lot of this stuff, you do not have clarity. You have a lot of random beliefs. Probably you're kind of have a lot of very poor emotional coping mechanisms. It's really not a walk in the park, really. It's not like, oh yeah, I developed, I get clear about my life. I'm already clear about my life. No, you have to actually study how to develop clarity in life. This is a whole investigation that you have to begin to care about. And I'm going to make a video on it probably sometime in the near future. But journaling is really good. Actually writing stuff down. Meditation, like I talked about, you actually have to observe yourself. Self-observation, increase self-awareness. Actively feel your emotions. I have a video, what is actively feeling? Check that one out. You actually have to actively investigate your feelings, your thoughts, yourself. Actually give yourself the necessary attention that you need to be well and to understand yourself, understand your personality. You don't just already know how these things work. You are dominantly unknown. You have a lot of things inside of you that would probably surprise you. Not probably surprise you, they will surprise you. You have a lot of stuff that you hide from yourself. You have a lot of things that you avoid about yourself. And basically, you need to actively investigate how your psyche works, how your mind works, how your emotions work, what they're doing. All this stuff is very, very important for developing genuine insight, clarity, psychological well-being, and just feeling good and being able to be productive. Moving on, walks. Walks are very good. Notice something in common with every single one of these. All of these things that I'm saying are connecting you to yourself and the present moment. They're actually connecting you to life. It's all about establishing a deeper relationship and connection to life, to yourself, and actually beginning to value that and noticing the things that pull you away from a deeper connection to yourself, like social media, junk food, toxic relationships. Things like this are all pulling you away from yourself. They're pulling you away from developing clarity, and they're just distractions, really. They're just not healthy for you. They're making you feel lethargic, depressed, sad, unmotivated, anxious. They're giving you poor results in all areas of your life, in your career, in your relationships. All this stuff really needs to be cared about. So when you are bored, go for a walk. Don't scroll on Instagram mindlessly. Leave your phone at home. Go for a walk. Just get out of your house. When you're bored, go for a walk. If you're not bored, go for a walk. Just get outside, go for a walk. Look at a tree, feel the tree. That's it. Very simple. Just connect to the present moment, connect to life, actually notice what's happening inside of you, give yourself the necessary attention that you need. Moving on is to stretch. Actually stretch your body. Like, can you touch your toes? Like, can you just develop the flexibility to be able to just touch your toes? You know, if you can't touch your toes, like, this is kind of a problem. Like, your body is probably very stiff, very locked, very rigid, and is really in desperate need of some care, some attention. You have to actually stretch your muscles. You can't live your whole life. You can live your whole life, but it's not wise. I wouldn't recommend living your whole life not stretching for 45 years, and then you have back problems, you have neck problems, you have who knows what kind of random problems. But you know, if you did 10 to 15 minutes of stretching per day, it's not a lot of time at all, your body would feel significantly better. You would have more of like an energetic flow happening in your body. It wouldn't feel so locked, so stiff, so rigid, and you'd probably avoid a bunch of back problems. You'd save yourself a lot of time and money on painkillers and stupid like appointments to fix these problems. Like, you would just save yourself a lot of time if you could just like oil your car. You know how you change the oil in your car? I hope you change the oil in your car. It's the same thing with your body. You have to treat this thing as though it's like a well-oiled machine. Like, you have to keep putting in the oil. You have to keep on maintaining it properly. Stretch, eat well, exercise, meditate. It's not just your physical body. You have to investigate your own mind. You have to care enough to investigate your own values, beliefs, how you see the world. You have to care enough to investigate how you distort reality and how you screw yourself over, on how you are absolutely full of shit. You actually have to investigate that. Our minds are not honest actors. Our minds are very deceptive, actually very manipulative, and we do this in order to get the things that we want out of life. Really, honesty and truth are something that you need to strive towards, really. You have to really uncover a lot of your blocks that, get in the way of that. And if you aren't doing that, you're not some truthful, honest person. You probably have a lot of stuff like this, underlying repressed emotions and problems. So you have to actually value clarity. And here are 5 things to help you develop clarity. You want to read, journal, meditate, go on walks, and stretch. This stuff is very important. You have to do this daily. Read psychotherapy, read emotional intelligence, read Social Intelligence by Daniel Goleman. Read books on dating and relationships. Read books on developing a career. Actually focus on self-actualization. This is not some ideal like we're all going to self-actualize. No, this is a need. Self-actualization is a human need. This is a basic need. It's not a want or an ideal, and in some perfect world we'll all self-actualize. This is a need for your own psychological well-being, and without it, you're screwed. You're screwed. No one has ever told you this, but if you do not self-actualize, you're screwed, because this is how your mind works. This is a need for you to achieve your potential. You cannot squander your potential. You cannot live an unexamined life. You will suffer a lot because of it. You will just live a very inauthentic, disconnected life, and you'll feel the consequences of it. Even if you can say to yourself, no, I'm fine, no, I'm happy, deep down, you're not. You will actually feel the consequences of making these silly decisions. of not investigating your mind, not caring about clarity, not having high quality values, not caring about your health, your overall health, your social health, emotional health, physical health, mental health, spiritual health, your consciousness. You actually have to value these things. And when you can actually value these things, productivity happens effortlessly. I can make videos every day if I wanted to. It's a bit difficult and I like to research it more. I like to get more information. But I am productive every single day of my life, and it's so easy because I have valued all these things that make me feel connected, authentic, and like I have a deeper sense of purpose and meaning. I have valued all of these things. Healthy diet, like getting the right foods in me, exercising daily. I have valued all these things, and productivity happens naturally and effortlessly. I don't have to like push myself in an aggressive way to get up and go to the gym. It's automatic. I love doing it. It makes me feel amazing. I don't have to push myself to do an hour and a half of meditation or 2 hours. It's automatic. It's what I want to do because it makes me feel so connected. I don't have to force myself to sit down and read a book because it's what I love to do. It's just so automatic that this is the thing that I'm going to be doing because it makes me feel so well connected and authentic. I don't have to guilt myself or shame myself if I don't go to the gym either. If I miss out on any of this stuff, I don't have to shame myself because I know that it's okay. It's a minor setback. I'm going to get right back on it. And I don't have to force myself to do it. It's automatic. I start doing it because I have wired myself to be that way through developing emotional intelligence, through developing self-mastery, through self-actualization. I have the awareness and the overall skills necessary to develop this stuff within myself. And this is the stuff you need to be doing in order to actually create that. And you have to be active about this. This is an active and ongoing thing. This is not just going to happen or stumble into your lap. You actually have to do this stuff. So that's it for this video. If you guys enjoyed, please leave a like. Any questions at all, leave them in the comment section below. And other than that, take it easy.